free Golden Eagles for War Thunder. Download the app in the description below. Hey guys, welcome back to War Thunder and welcome to a very short and quite positive video on the Ki-84 Co. Now, to give you a bit of background information, I've been quite moody, extremely cranky and definitely very much sleep deprived. I'm also running quite close to getting a cold and I really don't want that because I kind of need my voice on a daily concurrent basis. So yeah, I've been extremely salty over the past couple of days and I do apologise for that. Now, what happened today is I was playing the Chieftain Mark III. I was trying to get some footage for, for itself, and of course unlock the swing fire I'm currently working on. I just couldn't get the teams, couldn't get my, even me, I just couldn't get any good matches. So I thought, you know what, I want a video. I want to fly something that I haven't done in a long time, and I want to do something that I've definitely lacked upon showing in the past. Haven't done a video of the Japanese in a very long time. They're definitely not tier 4 props, so I figured out, let's take the Ki-84 Co for a spin. Thank God. This thing, and it wasn't the plane, it wasn't the matchmaker, it wasn't the kills, the dogfights. It was a teammate. You know, I've always focused very much on what people do wrong. Because it's very easy. I think it's in the human nature that we tend to focus on things players do wrong. We tend to focus on design of the game that the designers or the game developers have done wrong. We love pointing out flaws, but we're not very keen on pointing out things done well. I don't know, maybe there's just something to do with the human nature, but regardless of what the psychology behind it is, I've been wrong, you know, several times. Now, I'm not going to say that most of the criticism that I did, you know, point out was not correct. It's kind of destructive. It's destructive to constantly focus on what somebody's doing wrong. So instead I'm trying to make more of an approach of let's point things that they could have done better, you know, let's give them a hint or a tip, and for those who've done things well, let's give them a reward, you know, a bit of a shout out, a bit of a encouragement to continue doing things the way they do. Now, to touch on the Ki-84 before we actually begin, because I'm going to go quite philosophical with this one, like it or not, the Ki-84 is a fantastic plane. It's sort of like a mixture of a high-speed boom and zoomer and a low-speed turn fighter. So overall, we could just, you know, very easily say it's an energy fighter, yes, in general, but it combines two different playstyles that are found in the Japanese tech tree. If you think Japanese, the first association is probably A6M Ryzen, and Ryzen is an exclusive turn fighter, doesn't go very fast, will rip its wings off, great stall speeds. Then you have the Ki-61 lineup, which is an exclusive energy fighter. And you put the two together and you get this, well, quite literally a monstrosity of the Ki-84. It's sort of like an improved version of the Focke-Wulf. I mean, that's the easiest way for me to describe the way the plane feels. Now, certain practices should be done. For one thing, the guns are well, they're quite fast firing. We're talking about the H-05 cannons, if I'm not mistaken. So they got quite high muzzle velocity, which means it didn't require as much lead. I was using stealth here and was one of the... Well, I only played about 5 matches with this plane. It was enough to really get the feel of it back. Fantastic plane. There's not much that I can say about it that would be bad. It just combines so many different playstyles that it makes deciding what playstyle you want to utilize, well, very general. You can really choose whether you want to go with that boom and zoom, high altitude engagements, if you want to go in a bit of a turn fight once in a while. I wouldn't bet on turn fighting, but on certain occasions, with throttle management and flaps, yes, you can quite easily manage just that. Now in this match, I'm going to be playing the role of altitude fighter, in the sense that I'm trying to control altitude. I didn't dive after that P-47. My entire team will, though. This was the one fantastic, phenomenal thing that I've never really witnessed do on a Japanese team. They all dove. Every single member on our team, except for one, dove down to the deck. And it kind of left me worried. I mean, I knew they would finish them off, but I was worrying, what if the allied team had climbed? What if they had climbed higher than me? What are we going to do then? The first engagement is with P-51. He does a bit of a head-on pass. It's the 3.7 variant of the Mustang with 20mm Hispanos. He sparks, I get some hits. You could say a bit of bad luck tradement. I do a bit of an upside-down head-on pass with a Spitfire Mark 9, managed to get the kill quite easily. Again, these high-velocity 20mm are fantastic, whether it's head-ons, whether it's turn engagements, long-range sniping. they are guns that are very much reliable, but their only downside against is that if you're used to other guns, you will need to practice a bit, and especially with stealth, if you've just moved from another tech tree, you will need some practice rounds in to get the leading down. So, due to the execution of certain consequences here, we've found ourselves in a quite, well, I'm going to call it a leisureful situation. There's a Spitfire, there's a BF-9, a premium, and that's pretty much it. There's not much of a dogfight about to be happening at this altitude. The majority of the enemy team has dove, the majority of our team has dove, and I'm expecting that most of them are just going to, well, kill each other. So, for now, I'm going to be focused and worrying about the aircraft that are at altitude. This is really how air battles work. You focus on altitude, and in tank battles, you'd probably focus on range. So, if somebody's scapping, if somebody's, pushing forward, pushing the offensive, then you would try to engage them first. In air battles, really, you're working with altitude. The higher somebody is, the more potential energy they have, therefore you should engage them first. And that BF-1 up there is in the advantageous position. This was my first decision here not to engage him because he decided not to engage me, which came as a bit of a surprise. I mean, he is in a very, very good state of, well, taking me out. I'm attacking the Spitfire, he could have done some baiting, they could have teamworked together. That's perhaps my only criticism of the enemy team. They didn't imply any teamwork whatsoever. It felt like they were all flying one for another. And up to this point, from my perspective, I've done the same thing. I've done the exact same thing. I haven't engaged with any other player, but I haven't needed to, because I've only gotten into 1v1 situations. So, take that as a tip. If you are in a dogfight situation, there's several enemies around you, try to work with your friendlies. If not else, you can bait for them, you can suicide, zoom climb and stall the enemy out. There's always something you can do to work with your teammates to get the match over quicker and more effectively. And now the decision for me isn't that much difficult to make. The Spitfire's trailing me, he's obviously trying to get on my 6, but because of the altitude difference and the energy advantage I have, he can't really engage me. I mean, he would have to really climb back to altitude to have any chance to really have a shot on me. So I can ignore him and go back to that BF-9 and the P-63, which is now a 2 versus 1 scenario with the Ki-84 member that was pre-mentioned. Just watch what he does, because he doesn't do anything spectacular. He just doesn't do anything wrong. He goes for the BF-9 whilst the P-63 is going into upward leftward loop. So, he puts some shots past the BF-9, he overshoots him, I get a snapshot at the BF-9, he immediately reacts and changes targets to the P-63. That means that he's also now in a perfect, well, he's in a stall out, and if I didn't butcher my shots, I would have had him, but I get a nice little crit in. Now, the Ki-84 is still behind me, so he takes over the shots, finishes him off as he should have. That was, indefinitely his kill, he prepared it for me, and that was a 2 versus 1 that, with a little bit of help, even though that was all his work, instantly got turned back into a 2v1 for us. Because the Spitfire's coming back, and he isn't going to be much of a threat here. I mean, the Spitfire's a great plane, don't get me wrong, the Mark 9 specifically is a fantastic aircraft, I love flying it, but what it lacks is high-speed performance, and we're both very fast aircraft. We can go into excess of 700 kilometers per hour, the Spitfire is going to long lose its wings. And so all we do now is we're just exchanging boom and zooms. One goes down, the other one goes down. That means that the Spitfire doesn't have any time to breathe. He doesn't have any time to regain energy upon the initial turn. And as he makes his attempt, as I'm zooming back down, the Spitfire is now on low energy, and it really gives it a very easy opportunity for the kill. The Spitfire needs to be at a optimal speed to be able to maneuver. So as I'm zooming back down his tail, I cut the throttle, get on his 6, and cut the wing straight off. And that was the enemy altitude advantage dealt with. Well, so we thought. With my main cannon ammunition gone, I've only got 12.7mm guns here. I'm going to engage the B-52 because I can. He's an opportunistic target on my way back to the airfield because I need to refuel and rearm. I get a critical hit in, but it doesn't really specify anything else but the left flap, and I'm pretty certain that the left flap isn't going to be enough to take the enemy down. So I make another pass. This time I take out his tail control. I'm 100% confident with getting a critical hit and a tail control destroyed. That aircraft is long gone. There's no way he's going to be returning back from the dead. If I just leave him here, I should, after a bit of time, get myself that kill. And indeed, as I'm closing back to the airfield, the B-52 goes down, and the kill is attributed to me, since I was the one that managed to get a critical hit on him. As a little bit of a tip for killing big bombers when you're lacking ammunition or you don't have the cannon rounds, especially in lower tiers, if you know you've crippled an enemy plane, if you know that you've gotten that critical hit, and the emphasis is on critical hit. Sometimes you can set the enemy aircraft on fire, sometimes you will tear half of their wing off visually, unless you're being specified as a critical hit. The enemy could then crash and you're not contributed a kill if too much time has passed in between. But with a critical hit, you will be guaranteed a kill regardless of what happens or how long of a time it passes in between. So whilst I've been returning to the airfield, one of the enemy players has decided to reappear. An F6F has basically side climbed up to space and is now dogfighting, as we of course previously saw that Ki-84. So whilst I was busy dealing with the bomber and going back to airfield and landing and repairing and rearming and taking back off, he has been in a dogfight chasing that Hellcat, lowering his altitude, killing his energy this entire time. What he's done is he's single-handedly holding him back and waiting for a little bit of backup to arrive. And as I finally regain some altitude and start closing into the dogfighters at hand, the F6F starts panicking, goes into a dive, and gives a perfect opportunity for the Ki-84. He can't outrun him in any shape, way, or form, and again, the high-velocity cannons are going to make mincemeat out of him. And that's just what happens. Great and well-deserved kill. That also exposes the Helldiver that now for some reason goes into a straight-up vertical attempt. I get some hits into him, and that action has just put him into a perfect bait for, well, the Ki-84 himself. Look at that. That is not even me baiting, that is the enemy aircraft literally baiting himself. He sets him on fire, and that's game over. A textbook ending, a fantastic ending. What a fantastic match. So put the smoke on, flying behind him in a bit of a wingman formation, and this guy is an absolutely well-deserved player. Oh, wait a second. Well, the Helldiver just put the fire out, and he looks to be alive, moving with the elevators, so... Well, here we go again. The Ki-84 re-engages him, and again I follow through. I'm going to be lowering the throttle to 0 here. I'm really just playing the observer. I have no intentions of going after this kill. I was just having fun watching. I felt like for once I wasn't in the forehand of the video. It was somebody else that was taking the spotlight. So I'm just watching in awe, because this has been a fantastic match so far. Nothing has gone wrong. The guy has played textbook, and really a phenomenal player. And what's funny and what's coincidental and ironic is that he is a beginner. As I mentioned, he's not somebody who's been playing realistic battles for years. He's somebody who's just recently come into the game, but he's showing that he's capable of learning. He's showing he's capable of teaching himself new tricks, and the fact that he's simply following basic flight rules. He is doing what, and just to take the piss out of those who are playing in top tier matches, he's able of doing more than those guys do. And of course, a lovely story would not be finished without an unfortunate set on fire by the goddamn gunner. I mean, something had to ruin it. It was a fantastic match, really a textbook match at its finest. Me as an observer watching a newcomer play perfectly, and it had to end by the gunner. I mean, it crushed me a bit, because I knew how that must have felt from his perspective, because I've had matches like this myself, where everything went perfectly fine. I had to get the Helldiver there. I was a little bit pissed. Call it my grain of salt for the day. Well, regardless, it's needless to say that the performance of that pilot is off the charts. At his skill set, as his amount of time he put into the game, this guy has potential. If you're watching the video by some shape, way or form, or if somebody knows him or meets him in a match, give him my congratulations. And it's players like this that really, there should be a reward. There should be a reward titled the best teammate of the day. Because that's just what this guy was. Maybe not from a perspective of the amount of kills he did, maybe not because he was the most fantastic pilot in the game, but simply because he did what he had to do, and he did it right. Anyway guys, that is it for the video. I'm absolutely knackered, my voice is about to give up, so hopefully it doesn't. We do have to stream tomorrow, and on Saturday, and on Tuesday, and so on and so forth. But until next time, take care, and safe flying. Smaller portion of rocket, I took 8 here instead of 16 on the Wyvern. I'm making an approach on a Super Pershing, and of course I miss my shots. Good thing my teammates don't. this is the thing about squadron battles I love the most. It's moments like this that are hilarious, but at the same time not so much annoying. If this happened in a random match where I'm stuck up on top of the team carrying with 10, 12 kills and the entire team has been taken out, I would be pissed. But in squadron battles, I think everybody is the team, and the team is everybody. So that if one player screws up, the entire team has screwed up. So there's no real excuse movement.